So there is a point at which making a film like this, you make a decision that you have a particular point of view, that you believe these people are what they pretend to be. That but that puts a particular onus on you as a filmmaker, though, to kind of make their case. And I wonder, as you were going through, if you, I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, in documentary, casting is so much. So you have these incredibly likable people, and it seems like everybody who's on the other side is incredibly dislikable. I'm sure they're very nice people, some of them, but you have this juror who is so fucking white, you can't even believe it. It's like central casting. You would have sent her away saying, we can't use her. No one will believe it. And I wonder if did you want to be skeptical? Did you want to be cynical? Did you want to put something in it that proved to people? Because honestly, one of the somewhat subtle criticisms, but that's consistent in some of the reviews, is, well, you didn't prove that they were innocent, or why do rules not apply just because they're a Chinese bank? They kind of miss the bigger picture of this. And
I think they miss the bigger picture, and they also miss the details, which is why would this bank fire Ken Yu, report Ken Yu, go and hire a former federal prosecutor to conduct their own internal investigation, which resulted in firing at least a couple of other people, cooperate with the DA's office. When the mortgage borrower came and complained, say, go to the police. Why would they do all that if they were orchestrating and condoning? I mean, they would have pulled Ken Yu into the office and said, Ken, you need to be more careful.
Right.
You're great for us. You're doing great work, but you got to be more careful. I mean, they wouldn't have done any of that. When Polly Greenberg, when we did the interview with her, her answer was too convoluted to kind of put in the film. But when we put that question to her, like, why would they do that? They go, oh, well, they're all lawyers, and they're shrewd, and they, and she sort of spun out this, like, it seemed like an episode of...
They'd be terrible lawyers if they had acted the way they acted to try to cover it up.
Well, and it's like she spun out this thing that sounded like a episode of Law and Order or something, like just when you think it's this, it's that,
Da-da.
Yeah, da-da, yeah, exactly. So I mean, to your question initially, which is when, I think, Mark, because of his relationship with the family, was certainly inclined to believe that they were completely innocent in this. You spend a few days with these folks and you hear their side of the story and you see what the prosecution was up to. I felt pretty strongly that these folks were innocent, but nonetheless, we made it clear to them, and we went to great lengths. We said to them, look, we're going to do everything in our power to get the case against you into this film, and to whatever degree they present compelling evidence, both in the trial and in interviews, if we get them, we're going to bring that back to you, and you're going to, you need to answer that. And it's like, and if it's compelling, I mean, it's going to be in the film. And they weren't daunted by that. I mean, they believed so wholeheartedly in their innocence and integrity in this that they were willing to go along with that and didn't say, well, wait a second, So that's told me something. And then, it also, the very first interview we did with Mr. Sung, it just said something like, there was a point where we were setting up the shot and he had all these pictures, that he had not gotten around to mounting on his wall, kind of, that was interesting. He's the CEO of this company for 30 years and he still hasn't gotten the pictures up. But, at one point we said, well, for the shot, it'd be great. Could we just hang that one and put it up, And he was like, sure. And, well, we'll need a hammer and a screw. And we go out in the hall. I look down the hallway, and he's down on his knees in the closet going through the toolbox himself to get the hammer. I don't know. Something about that told me something about that guy,
Right.
Right. At the same time, it was really difficult to get the prosecution to ever go on camera.
Yeah.
So you would think if they were that forthright and that confident about the case and that they felt there'd been an injustice, that they would be willing to speak on camera. And it took us a long time and a lot of phone calls to finally get them to go on camera.
But the thing about it is that they still, even after the, those interviews took place after the verdict, and we thought at that point they would never go on camera because they lost. They felt so strongly, I mean, you see it in the film, they felt so strongly that they were right about this, that they were willing eventually to go on camera and make their case again. And part of the reason they went on camera was at that point we had partnered with Frontline, And I think they feared Frontline. They didn't fear us, but they feared Frontline. You know, they didn't want that narrator guy going, Cyrus Vance Jr.
Right.
declined to be interviewed.
Right.
You know, whoever that guy is.
That's pretty good.